If the face your mid-century house is showing to the world feels a little bland, there are some easy things you can do to jazz it up without going to the effort of a major remodel. Let's break it down. A couple of weeks ago, I talked you through some super easy DIY one-offs. Sub out light fixtures, paint your front door a bold color, size up your house numbers, all the kinds of things you can knock off in a weekend project. If you want to know more about that, check out the video right here. But today let's take it a little bit further. A lot of these are things I've done on my own home and that I regularly recommend to clients. They are all DIY-able, but I'll be honest, they are not things you're gonna knock off in one weekend. Call in your handiest best friend or family member to come add a little skill lift to what you've already got on hand. Or they're all the kind of projects that you can find handyman or woman on Angie's List or by talking to the friendly person working at the cabinet desk of your local lumberyard to take on a couple of one-off projects that add up to a bigger improvement over time. Let's talk about replacing again your front door with a more mid-century one, replacing your garage door, painting or maybe residing the entire house to change the overall massing and maybe the patterns that it's working with, and then starting to play three-dimensional chess. We'll talk about improving your covered areas, adding some jaunty column details, and creating layers in the yard as you approach the front door with some fencing or other decorative elements that can help a mid-century house feel less like it's plopped in its yard and more like it's reaching out into its landscape. First off, we start with the front door. Now, replacing your front door is a DIY-able project. It's also something you don't want to get wrong, so you may want to go ahead and just hire this one out. But if you're going to replace your front door, you want to make sure you are improving the mid-century quality of your house, not putting in something that feels Victorian or craftsman. If your house right now has an oval of leaded glass that somebody in the 80s thought was super on point, you're probably thinking about a mid-century substitution. Your local lumberyard will have catalogs that supply this kind of door, no matter what we're talking about. If you are looking for a reasonably up-to-date list of mid-century door sources, Retro Renovation is my favorite go-to for a bunch of this kind of classic, mid-century vintage appropriate choices. I'll put a link to that in the description, but let's do some quick typologies of mid-century appropriate front doors. No matter your style, you actually can't go wrong with a simple slab door. Just a flat slab, no decorative details, no windows. If you do want to put windows in the door, windows inside of a door are referred to as lights, spelled L-I-T-E, so if you see that, that's what we're talking about. And probably the most classic, vintage appropriate, easily available almost everywhere door style today is square lights stacked on top of each other. For a little bit more zazzy atomic appeal, they could be 3 diamonds stacked on top of each other. That is an original mid-century door detail you'll see in many neighborhoods across the US, and you can still get your hands on it today. Also super common for people who are doing the mid-century update look is a stack of 4, 5, or 6 smaller rectangles offset on one side or other of the door. Again, a bunch of manufacturers seem to have this these days, and it always looks mid-century cute. If your goal is more minimalist update than mid-century throwback, then the one single vertical light on one side of the door is a more modern look, but it still works for your mid-century house. You're not limited to what's available from modern suppliers, however. Have you heard of Make It Mid-Century? They have these amazing door kits, so you can take any slab door and cut in new window shapes and install them yourself. They've got the glass, the trim, and instructions to follow. This is really how you can have some fun with your front door, and you could also just do a trim kit that puts decorative details onto a slab door without having to do any cutting. All of these are really fun options to make your house unusual, unique, really perfect it and match it to your own personal style. If you're replacing your front door, you might also want to replace your garage door. Most of the original slab style garage doors that were out or fun color blocked rectangle paintings were wood. They were solid. They were a little heavier than modern garage doors in punched steel tend to be, and they are less likely to work with a modern garage door opener. So they got replaced when someone was like, I'm tired of getting out of my car to open the garage door every time I go in and out. And the trade-off was this boring classic garage door, probably in white, which stands out like a sore thumb and does nothing for your house. Here are a couple of modern garage door options that work well with a mid-century house, particularly an updated version. Or if you're trying to make your garage door a bit more of a focal point, if it is the most prominent thing on your house, why not let it be a little playful? Again, check out a kit from Make It Mid-Century. I covered painting your front door and your storm door in my easy one weekend DIY projects list. You can DIY paint your entire mid-century house, especially if it is just a one-story ranch. That's so much easier than cracking out the scaffolding to get up to the top of your attic in a 3-story Victorian. But it is more than a one weekend project to repaint an entire house. If you're thinking about this kind of project, I'm going to point you to this recent video on great mid-century house colors. And then if you are actually going to go further and think about maybe a a major residing project, I'll point you towards this video, which will talk you through the various aspects of good mid-century siding and how you can try to replicate that with modern siding materials today. But the most important thing I will say right here, right now is, unless you're going for a really time capsule, cute, mid-century traditional style for your house, you want to choose trim color that is the exact same color as your siding. You want a monochromatic look. Limit your pop colors to just the front door, maybe a side entry door, maybe the garage door, but probably just put the color where you want the eye to go, to your front door. Okay, so that covers surfaces and replacements attached to the house itself. What can we do to make the three-dimensional nature of your house pop a little bit more? Most mid-century houses don't have a covered entry of any sort. They look like this, which is a sketch of my house. But the really, really cool mid-century houses have not only a covered entry, but an entry that makes a statement, more like this. If you are lucky enough to have a covered front porch, odds are that it's got an outside corner that's supported by just one column, and it's either a 4x4 wood post or a 3-inch diameter steel pipe, and it's not the most interesting thing in the world. At many points in the past, people have been tempted to jazz up that lonely column by thickening it, wrapping it, putting a bunch of decorative nonsense around it. They might try to turn it into fake Corinthian columns with a plastic surround, or they might put on a bunch of angular details and make it look a little craftsman. But for a mid-century house, actually all you need to do is give that column a friend, or better yet, two. You can conceal a single lonely column in a screen wall that creates a little bit of privacy in a specific place, or you can just pair it with one or two others to give it a sense of purpose and repetition. This might also be something you want to choose to paint a pop color or give it a little bit of accent. It could pick up your front door color and sort of lead someone from the street into the house. Multiplying the columns won't change anything structurally. The one column that was always there will be doing the lift, and it won't take up any extra space on a snug porch, but it will do wonders for how purposeful your house feels. If you want to go a little bit more into substitution, you could think about making a more interesting shape. You can add in some interesting trapezoids or other angular elements to draw the eye and turn that column into a feature, not a bug. I've had a couple of conversations with people lately who are trying to take a very mid-century traditional house that has a lot of artificial centered elements and make it a bit more mid-century mod. If your house has a front porch with two columns centered on a front door, then you want to think about emphasizing one side or the other. You could put a screen wall on one side or triplicate the columns on only one side to give a little bit more balance to the house, direct someone up a front walk to a specific place, rather than keeping that rigid center, which doesn't lend itself well to the mid-century style. For more on balance, not symmetry, check out this video to sort of apply that theory to every single part of your mid-century house. Not only are all of these ideas I recommend all the time for my clients, I teach the process in this 2-hour workshop, the Mid-Century Exteriors Clinic. I'll walk you through not only a list of ideas you might apply to your house, but how to start the process of thinking about what matters most to you, assessing the features and qualities and dimensions that your house already has, and getting yourself set up to create a master list of projects you can tackle and then set up and knock down one after another after another. So if these suggestions are feeling exciting for you, you might find that class really helpful, and I'll have some more visual examples of everything I'm talking about in that. Another level you can pull to improve the balance and break up any symmetry in your house is some sort of front decorative fence element. You can make this out of slats, easy to DIY. You can make it out of stone. You could make it out of breeze block. It's not holding anything up structurally. It just needs to sit there and look pretty. This kind of decorative fence can be a place for house numbers to sit. It can lead you up a walk towards the front door. It can also be something where you can let the same material appear in more than one place around the house. On the example of my own house, I've got a little decorative front fence for house numbers made in the same material as the slat wall I used to plug what had once been the opening of a breezeway between my house and garage, and is now a front garage storage area and a back mudroom in the same little tubular space. This might also be a place where you could use the same breeze block element to be a front yard guarding area fence wall, and then on the side it's a little bit of a higher element that hides your trash cans from street view. The benefit of tackling home improvement in a series of concentrated projects like this is that you can plan, start, do, and finish one, and then take a break while your life gets busy again, or you can knock them off one after another and use the momentum of one project to take you into the next one. Either way, they can still make a huge improvement to the way your house feels. And they can be layered over 1 year or multiple years, depending on your available time and resources, or who you've got to hire it out to. So don't forget to check out that Mid-Century Exteriors Clinic if you're curious. I'll link to it in the description. And have some fun this spring and summer planning updates for your mid-century house that are going to make it feel a little bit more mid-century. If you've tackled any of these projects yourself, substituted in a front door, played with a Make It Mid-Century kit, or had some real fun putting your house numbers and lighting them up on a decorative fence in front of your house, I'd love to hear about it. Comment and tell me what you've already tackled for your house and what you might tackle next based on this list.